All right, YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking college football sports, and it is the day for the national championship game. College football playoff, all of this has culminated to Clemson versus LSU in the national championship game down in New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why I think LSU will win, and I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why I think the Clemson Tigers will win. Clemson Tigers, obviously the number 1 team in the country, unanimously thrashing Alabama last year 44-16, back at it again against another SEC team in LSU. But I'm going to start out with LSU. What are the 3 main reasons why I think LSU will win this particular football game? One, you got to look at the quarterback, Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy winner, transfer from Ohio State. He didn't decide to go to a lesser tier school. He went to the meat of the SEC West in LSU, and he's helped to resurrect this program along with Joe Brady as far as, really revolutionizing this offense to where this is one of the best teams in the country, both offensively. They're very diverse as to what they can do. They love those dig routes. They love those intermediate routes. They love the situations where when Joe Burrow scrambles, he can find guys downfield. You know why? Because he trusts his offensive line. He trusts his team. He trusts the ability and the coaching in which his team is prepared to win particular football games. So if Clemson cannot keep Joe Burrow at bay and cannot rattle Joe Burrow in any kind of way, this is going to be a long football game for the Clemson Tigers. Number 2, why do I think LSU is going to beat Clemson? They play very well on defense, sneaky good on defense. They have a very good knack of playing very well up front. They're not necessarily dominant, but they're able to disrupt what teams like to do. If you case in point, if you look at the game where LSU took on Oklahoma, they took away Jalen Hurts' ability to do the RPO. They took away Jalen Hurts' ability to look downfield comfortably to throw passes. They constantly kept pressure on Jalen Hurts to the point where, they scored 28 points, but those were 28 very, very meaningless points. So you got to give a shout out to Dave Aranda and this defense for LSU. The last reason why I think that LSU will win this particular football game is these receivers for LSU, including Moss, are playing with a lot of confidence. They have played some of the best secondaries in the country. They were challenged mightily in the Auburn game to where, they still scored, they had 500 yards, but only scored 23 points, turned the ball over some, but they were still successful. They've been through that adversity. So what will be different about Clemson? Clemson is very talented, but LSU faces this level of talent for the most part every single week. So I think LSU has the edge because they've been more battle tested, and nothing about Clemson will scare LSU. All right, so let's talk about the defending national champions, Clemson. Why will Clemson absolutely beat LSU? Well, number 1, you got to look at my man from Georgia, Trevor Lawrence. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, probably would have been a easy pick for the Heisman, but at the same time, he was just too good. I mean, everybody around him was just too good. So you can't give Trevor Lawrence the Heisman. People don't think he was battle tested. The ACC typically would have been a tough conference to play in when you talk about playing against Miami and Florida State, but those particular teams are down. But you still can't discount the leadership and the running ability of Trevor Lawrence. He can see guys down the field. He has some of the best wide receivers in the country. So I think with this talented defensive backfield for LSU, they're going to have to keep their head on the swivel in this game and look out for the big plays. Some of the big plays that they scored on in the Alabama game a year before. That's why I think Clemson can win this game, because Clemson has been there. They've done that. They have the experience to actually play in the big game. They won't allow the moment to get too big for them. Come on, LSU, you got to come with it in this particular game. Number 2, Clemson has one of the best rosters in all of college football. These guys over the last few years have recruited at least in the top 5. These guys are very talented. These guys are very strong up front, and they're able to create pressure, and they have the manpower to defend LSU in all these dig routes and all these intermediate routes that they're going to try to throw at Clemson that they've never seen before, or they think they haven't seen before. But look, you got one of the best defensive coordinators in the country in Brent Venables, and he's seen all of this stuff. So look, if you think you're going to beat LSU with some of the stuff that you beat, Alabama or Oklahoma with, you got another thing coming. The last thing that I think, the reason why Clemson is going to be repeat as national champions in 2019, 2020 is because they have the best roster in all of college football. They can match up with any team in the country. They got down 16-0 against Ohio State, but never went. They never broke. They never panicked. They stayed in the football game. They had some big plays, and that was the game that I think Clemson needed, because they haven't really had a game like that other than the North Carolina game earlier this year. So they're battle tested as well to a certain degree. So who do I think will win this game? Now, when I look at it from a totality of circumstance, I got to go with the SEC. I got to go with LSU in this particular game. They're very talented at the receiver position. They're very talented as far as diversifying things with their run game, and their defense has improved. But in about an hour, we will see how this game will turn out. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast Talking College Football. You know what? You know this is an Auburn channel, but we love all of college football sports. This is the last significant game of the college football season, the national championship game taking place down in New Orleans. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. This has nothing to do with this particular game, but as always on this channel, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.